Hi, William Gilmore here for the ScreenwritersJourney.com, and it is day 8, the beginning of our second week of our 52-week journey to sell a screenplay to Hollywood. And today I would like to talk to you about screenplay structure. Now, in the course of cinematic history, Hollywood has produced a lot of films. A lot. And over that course of time, the structure of the screenplay has evolved, and there is a very set parameter or paradigm that all screenplays in Hollywood follow. And that structure has been outlined by Syd Field in his book called Screenplay. And if you don't have this book, you should probably get it now. It is the Bible for all screenwriters attempting to break into the industry. It is the basis for all screenplays. It really does break everything down very, very succinctly for you. And basically that structure is the foundation on which we will hang our story. And Syd Field has broken that down into 3 sections, or acts. That's why you hear it called the 3-act structure. And the first thing we have to know is how long is a screenplay? Well, they average anywhere from 90 to 120 pages. And in the years past, newest spec screenplays were coming in at 90 to 100 pages. That has increased a bit now, so we're looking at 100 to 110 pages. 120 is the absolute max. You cannot go over 120 pages. If you're Jonathan Nolan or Shane Black or someone like that with a proven track record, yeah, sure, you can break that rule and you can go over 120 pages and they'll call you a genius for it. But chances are you are not Shane Black and you are not Jonathan Nolan, so you have to abide by that rule. Keep it under 120. Now, for the purposes of our example today, we will be looking at 120 page, just because it makes it easier to break down the numbers. So, we have a 3-act structure for our screenplay. The first act comprises the first quarter of the screenplay. So, for our 120-page screenplay, that's going to be pages 1 to 30. Act 2 comprises our middle half of the film. So, that's going to run from approximately page 31 to page 90. And then Act 3 is our final quarter of the film, and that's going to run from about page 91 to 120. And that gives us a 2-hour film. Now, each act is also separated by a plot point, or a reversal moment. And this is a moment that happens near the end of Act 1 and Act 2 that sends the story in a completely and hopefully unexpected directions for both the audience and our hero. And each act also has a series of elements that you need to incorporate that will propel the action of the screenplay forward. Now, for Act 1, those elements include the exposition. And that's the part of the story that's going to introduce our characters and show some of the interrelationships between them. It also places them within a specific time and place, whether it's a period drama, a modern drama, war drama. You get the idea. We're also going to introduce our main character, and this is obviously our hero, our protagonist. It's the person about whom the story revolves around, and he has a very specific need or objective to fulfill, and it's his actions that will drive the story. Now we have 2 other elements here that sound similar but are slightly different, and that's the dramatic premise and the dramatic situation. Now the dramatic premise is specifically what the story is about, whereas the dramatic situation are the circumstances surrounding the action of that premise. And then about halfway through the first act, we'll have the inciting incident. And that's an event that sets the film's plot in motion. It'll occur at approximately page 15, or about 15 minutes into your screenplay. And then, of course, we're going to hit the plot point at the end of the first act. And this is that moment where we're going to completely turn the story around and send it in a new direction and turn the protagonist's life upside down. Now, Act 2 comprises, as I said earlier, the middle half of our film. And some of the elements that we need to combine in here are our obstacles. These are the moments that the hero has to encounter that will prevent him from achieving whatever his dramatic need is. Then we reach our first culmination. And this is a point just before the halfway point of the film. So we're talking around page 55, 56, where our main character, our hero, seems to be close to finally achieving whatever his goal or his objective is, and then everything falls apart, and that leads us directly into our midpoint. And that comes at about page 60 if we're looking at a 120-page screenplay. And this is the low point for our hero. He seems so far from fulfilling his dramatic need or objective, he is despondent, he is ready to give up. And then, of course, we reach our second plot point right at the end of Act 2, which is going to come probably around 85, 86, somewhere in there. And this is where our story takes, again, another reversal, and our hero is going to move into the third act where he will have his final confrontation with his nemesis, the antagonist of our film. So in Act 3, we're going to have our climax, or our second culmination, and this is the point at which the plot reaches its maximum tension. And the forces in opposition, our antagonist and our protagonist, will have to confront each other at a peak of physical and emotional action. And then finally we reach our denouement, and that is the brief period of calm at the end of the play where our hero has achieved his goals and a state of equilibrium returns to his life. And that is the basic plot structure of virtually every Hollywood movie that's made today. You need to understand it, you need to be able to practice it, and you need to be able to execute it flawlessly. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rules. There are always exceptions. Unfortunately, we are not part of that exception. If you are a screenwriter with a proven track record, sure, you can break all the rules you want. But until you've got that track record, it's their game, so you got to play by their rules. And you got to remember, if you're sending in your script for evaluation, the readers at the production companies or the agency or even the major studios are looking to see if you understand basic plot structure. Have you incorporated all of the elements? Have you hit the prescribed plot points on the proper pages? That is a mouthful to say. If you haven't, your screenplay is going in the slush pile, and they're moving on to the next one. So you've got to understand that. Now, once you've got it down, you can move on to more advanced techniques, such as Chris Soth's The Mini-Movie Method, or Blake Snyder's Save the Cat. Save the Cat is the methodology that I am applying to my screenplay come-ups, and I'll be posting pages from that on the site here so you can review what the script was originally and how I made changes to hit the plot points that Mr. Snyder calls for. But until then, I am out of here. I'm back to my writing. And I will see you again tomorrow here on the ScreenwritersJourney.com. And until then, as always, keep writing.